everybody, welcome back to West Sylvan Broadcast News. I'm Sydney.
And I'm Ella.
Today in this episode, we're going to be interviewing Miss Purdue and Miss Melanie about their block
and electives. Let's get to some interviews. So, how many block classes do you teach?
I teach one block class, sixth graders.
And have you ever taught block before?
Yes, I taught 7th grade block for 11 years before I moved to 6th grade block.
And then, do you have any electives?
I do, I have 3 electives.
And what are those?
I teach an 8th grade ethics and philosophy class, I teach a 7th grade speech and debate class, and I teach a 6th grade introduction to speech class.
And how long have you been teaching those classes?
Those 3 classes, I just finished my first semester, although I did teach a 7th and 8th grade speech and debate class last year for the year.
And then for block class, what is your opinion on homework for doing that?
I think homework is an important part of school. Students need to learn how to manage their time. They need to learn how to practice at home some of the skills that we worked on in class. I think mostly with homework it's learning how to plan your time. When you get to high school, there's a lot of homework and you need to begin to learn how to manage that workload in middle school. And in the real world, when you have a real job, you're going to have work that you need to do in the evenings after work. And middle school is a good time to begin to learn how to manage that workload.
And do you like having 2 periods for block instead of 1 period to get more stuff done?
Well, we never have had block for 1 period. When I first started teaching here 19 years ago, block was 3 periods. So you had a period for reading, a period for writing, and a period for history. And it was amazing. And then we moved to a 2-period block, yet we still have to teach the same 3 subjects. So it has become quite challenging to get through all of the curriculum when you only have 2 periods.
And what is your favorite part about teaching block?
My favorite part about teaching block is teaching subjects that students literally don't know anything about. So everything is new to them. They don't know anything about hominids and early civilizations in Mesopotamia. And it's exciting to teach subjects that are completely new to the students.
And do you have a least favorite part about teaching block?
The workload. When you teach reading, writing, and history, those are very labor-intensive subjects that require a lot of grading outside of school. And it's not uncommon to spend 10 or 12 hours almost every weekend grading essays and poems and history projects and essay tests.
And how many years have you been teaching?
This is my 19th year.
And what inspired you to start teaching?
I had a 7th and 8th grade English teacher here at West Sylvan where I attended, and she made learning fun. And when it came time to kind of decide what I really wanted to do, I felt like teaching was something that I would be good at. I'm inspired by young people. They're exciting. I love to watch them grow and learn about themselves.
And I see you have a lot of signs in your room. What inspired you to have a lot of signs?
Well, I think that it's to have some fun things on the wall so kids can be looking and you know, maybe they are bored in class or their mind is wandering, at least they're looking at something that could spark something in them. I do know that there are some signs in this classroom that kids understand that there's some value in what they have to say, and they remember those signs when they go through school. And, well, remember that sign in Miss Melanie's class? Yeah, that one really spoke to me. So.
And then my last question is, do you have any advice for the next year's 6th graders?
It would be important that you listen to your teacher. We are not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. Everything that we do, we are telling you everything you need to know to be successful, so it's important that you actually are listening to the teacher because we have no reason to trick you. All we want you we want you to be successful, and in order for that to happen, you need to listen because we do know what we're doing, and it's important that you follow our directions. If you follow our directions, you shouldn't have a problem being successful.
Well, thank you for taking your time and letting us in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Wow, that was some interesting news about Miss Melanie's speech and debate class, block class, and ethics class.
I wonder what it's like to teach all those classes.
Yeah, That
Well,
must be difficult.
we don't have time to talk about all this because Miss Melanie's so interesting. Next interview.
So, Miss Purdue, what's your favorite part about being a block teacher?
My favorite part about being a block teacher is that I get to have my students for a segment of time that most other teachers don't. So I get to see my students for a longer time during the day, and that gives me that much more time to get to know them.
How many years have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 4 years.
And have you taught at other schools in West Sylvan?
My first year, I taught half-time and I was at Jackson Middle School.
Have you taught any grades other than 6th grade?
No, I have only taught 6th grade.
Do you have any electives?
Yes, I teach creative writing.
And what do you do in creative writing?
We do all kinds of things. Mainly what we work on is the narrative. So we tell a lot of different types of stories that fit into many different genres. And the students also work on writing skills. You could think of them as like the traits of writing. Voice, word choice, ideas and content, sentence fluency, that sort of thing.
And are there other electives that you would like to teach in the future?
Well, there is a part of me that maybe somewhere in the far future I could teach theater, because I do have a theater background.
What inspired you to become a teacher? Did you have like a specific teacher, or was it something else?
Well, really it was working in the school system in a completely different fashion. I worked in special education rooms, and I saw right off the bat that as a teacher you get to create connections with your students. And those are connections that are a lot more meaningful than the kinds of connections that you get in a different job, in a lot of other jobs. And to me, that stood out, and that made me want to become a teacher. And another thing is that I saw that teachers are constantly learning from their students. And I like that. And I find that even today, that my kids teach me something new every day.
What's your opinion on homework?
I am pro homework. My students will tell you that. And that's mainly because I think that homework instills life skills. It instills in kids the ability to be responsible, to manage their time wisely, to stay organized, to meet deadlines. These are all things that you have to do as an adult, so you might as well start practicing them now.
Are there some days with more homework, or does it normally stay even?
I have ebbs and flows as a block teacher, and so my kids have to pay pretty close attention to due dates, because sometimes when we're working on a particular writing project, there won't be quite as much homework because it all gets turned in at the end. And other times when we're reading a book and there's chapters and comprehension questions that they have to answer, then all of a sudden there's lots of due dates. So it comes and goes.
Do you have advice for future 6th graders?
I would tell 6th graders that 6th grade, more than any other year, the beginning of middle school, is a time of new beginnings. So even if they feel like maybe they're not doing so well academically, there's a lot of other areas where they can be doing well. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about life skills. And it's a time where you need to start forming new habits if you have other habits that aren't so healthy. So I would tell 6th graders, it's a time where you can make new friends, you can learn new things that you've never had to learn before in elementary school, things that don't necessarily you can learn in the classroom. They're more like life skills, as I was saying earlier. And so 6th grade is really a time to focus on that versus getting straight A's. I know that sounds kind of funny coming from a teacher, but that's what I would tell 6th graders.
Is that one of the reasons why you like to teach 6th grade?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for letting us interview you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
That was the end of the episode. Shout out to all the amazing teachers we interviewed today.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and keep watching our next videos.
Wow, look at these vines. R.I.P.